Hi guys, welcome back to Trade Time. This is the new podcast that we've started putting together in YouTube videos, which interviews various reptile shop owners from around the UK. It's an opportunity to discover their life's work, what they're trying to achieve, where they're going, what it's like being on the other side of the till when you work in a reptile shop, just how unforgiving is it. Um, it's assumed that we are profit hungry, we don't really care about the animals, and that we're not invested in the animals we keep or the keepers that we supply. And couldn't think that anything's further from the truth. And certainly now, this is the third episode that I've recorded, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it because each shop owner's journey is totally different, and it offers us different insight into the way that their shops run. So make sure that you like and subscribe and share. This will be available on YouTube, on Spotify, and we'll make it available on Facebook. And we're going to introduce our guests for this week, which are Carl Pierce and Tony Lamberti of C&T Exotics Limited in Bovingdon. So hi guys, thanks for
Hey, Jazz.
you all right?
Dandy.
Another long day in the office, just finished.
hmm
Nightmare. So you can think of nothing better to do than spend an hour and a half, 2 hours talking to me down the end of a bloody camera. So I
Don't
do,
want to say it.
yeah, I know. I do appreciate the time and you doing this for me. I really do. So as always, the first part of the video is sort of general shopkeeping. So it would be the nuts and bolts of how the shop works. How many days a week are you open? Live foods and dry goods and frozen delivery days. What services you provide, and just a general rundown of your shop and what it is that you do there. So take it away.
So we're open 6 days a week. Tuesday's the only day we're closed. Soon, hopefully, we're going to be open 7 days a week, but that's further down the line. Delivery days for live food and generally most dry goods are Mondays, sometimes Wednesdays, and also Fridays. Frozen food as and when we need it. It can vary as and when we sort of run out of it. Um, Other products, again, varying that just as and when we need it. So,
And do you offer any additional services? Some of the other shop owners, whether it's sexing snakes or like holiday service or any of those sorts of bits and pieces as well?
Yeah, we have holiday boarding service. We do nail clipping, general health checks for reptiles, but then we also do certain species of exotic mammals as well.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And are you licensed there for the mammals as well, or is it just reptiles that you're licensed
No,
for?
we're only licensed for reptiles for now.
Okay.
Hopefully, moving forward, we'll be licensed for mammals.
That's something you're keen to pursue and feel.
Potentially, yeah. Not on a big scale, not on a big scale.
small amounts.
Small
Yeah.
amounts, yeah.
Like the like pygmy hedgehogs and things like this. Is that
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
that's not
Spot
okay? Look, so this is it's interesting because this dynamic's the first time that we've had this, which is where we've got a couple that work together, live together, got a daughter together, and we were just talking before. It's like, how the fuck do you two do it without trying to kill one another? Because if I had to work with my missus, it'd be curtains almost immediately. I just couldn't do it. How do you manage it to keep the balance?
on. Do you know what? I think we've got the balance in the sense that I'm I get really pissed off with him.
I,
And then he just takes the piss. And at that point, I'm like, I can't be pissed off with you anymore.
Very sarcastic.
So I'm like, great. So what the
Yeah.
fuck am I meant to do with that? I can't be annoyed with you because you're just taking the piss out of me. Um,
We keep it professional.
yeah,
We
yeah,
keep it
obviously.
professional at work.
But yeah, behind the scenes, jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
that
hard.
doesn't
But
surprise me. Yeah, I mean it's hard because like you've got the trials and tribulations of running a shop and then running a home away from it as well and doing all of that. My hat's off to you because like I say, there's just no way that I could do that at all. It would be, I'd be on a 25 stretch, I think. If it was,
yeah, but I mean, bearing in mind, it's not just us either. We have Ember here.
yes.
So it's literally the three of us. And it's like, yeah, it's hard. It's
Yeah.
hard.
It's hard work,
Yeah.
but
I
we make
bet.
it work.
We make it work. We've got a good dynamic, I think, where it just works.
Good on you. Good on you. You're better than me. That's for definite. Like the girls will testify working with me is no bed of roses. That's for fucking sure. So like at which point so with the two of you, you have to handle it, but like separately, what got you into the hobby? Was it a job that became a passion, or a passion that became a job? So
I think for both of us, it was passion for
Yeah.
job.
yeah,
So yeah, you go.
Started off, yeah, I've kept reptiles for years, and then yeah, just met the owner for Amy Zoo, Mark Amy, and yeah, done a bit of building work at the time for him,
yeah.
and yeah, just got a bit slow with the building work. He offered me a job. I was like, yeah, why not? Something different.
Had you kept from being a kid then? You kept for like younger day. How
Yeah,
old
yes.
when you got into the hobby?
I was 9 when I got
Right.
him. Got a tortoise. Yeah, 9 years old. Still got him now.
Right.
Um,
Great.
yeah, so yeah, still got him now. And yeah, that's where it all sort of stemmed from, really.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah.
So with regards to what shop was it that you was it a shop that you went to get the tortoise? Was it
No, do you know?
it from or no?
No, so it was from. I'm sure the guy was called Trevor Moxie that
Right.
worked at Whipsnade Zoo.
Okay.
And I got he was used to breeding privately, and my mum got in touch with him, bought from him,
Hmm.
and then I used to drive past Amy Zoo to go to another shop to get all the
Right.
products because I didn't know Amy Zoo exists.
Right.
Little old boy in Amersham, yeah, very old school guy. He told me that Amy Zoo was here, and I didn't have to drive half an hour, 40 minutes to his shop. So
Right.
yeah, that's how I met obviously Amy Zoo and Mark there.
And then the relationship, like you developed a professional relationship with Amy Zoo from that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
What about you, Tony? What was your introduction to the hobby?
I came into Amy Zoo when I was about 12, I think, out of pure curiosity, and it just stemmed from there. I fell in love with it. Despite yeah, it was just I got my first corn snake, um, and then came back and bought a common boa from you
From
when
me
I was about 15,
when I started working at Amy Zoo.
which we didn't know at the time, obviously. And yeah, it's just stemmed from there. I've just carried on keeping, really.
Okay. So you met at the shop that or the
So
relationship
we
was
met a few times without realizing we'd met, if that makes sense.
okay.
So we met when you sold me my boa when I was
Right.
younger. I would have been
Yeah.
about 15, 16. I then,
Make sure old now.
sorry, I had a barn owl, didn't I? And
Yeah.
I we were given the barn owl, and I kept the barn owl for a long time. But then what happened? I think my mum might have got really poorly, and I was like, I can't keep this barn owl.
Yeah.
So I came to Mark and I said to Mark, look, I need your help. And Mark amazingly helped us out. And then I found out when we started seeing each other that he had my barn owl. Carl had my barn owl.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, and this was about 10 years later. So it was all just kind of
Yeah.
little bits along the way.
Oh, interesting. So, and was it? I'm trying to think. I've lost my train of thought now. Was this for both of you? Was it a decision that was supported by parents? Were they supportive of the idea of you getting into the hobby, or was the oh shit, not a reptile, or were they behind you 100%?
I mean, my family have been behind me with all my animals, really. All my, I've always kept exotics, and they've supported me 100%. I think they're pretty laid back. I'm really lucky that they're pretty laid back.
Yeah, yeah. Some
Yeah,
people have a different experience. Do you know what I mean? They have to
yeah.
fight for everything that they get. I mean, my mum and dad were really against the idea, but then relented when they realised that I wasn't going to give up on this shit.
Mm.
This is, like, I want a snake. End of conversation. I want a snake.
Yeah.
But what about you, Carl? Were you supported at home? Or?
Yeah. So me mum was depending on what I wanted to get. Because yeah, had a tortoise. I had a small bedroom. But I ended up getting a leopard gecko, bearded dragon, some turtles.
Mhm.
So yeah, there was a limit.
Yeah.
She wasn't impressed that I sort of kept bringing more and more. All rescues that used to come up to Amy Zoo, and all of a sudden I've got more stuff, and it's yeah, just built up from there. She never said no, but she was like, "Where's it going?"
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Where, in this Tetris of a bedroom, where do you want to put the next vivarium?
Yeah,
I had the same issue, man. I had about 25 vivariums in my bedroom, and they were just all stacked everywhere. And it's like, I think they were running off 2 plug sockets as well, which is like
yeah,
a fire officer's night. You know
yeah.
what I mean? So
Yeah.
you've had the joint experience with Amy Zoo as the previous owner. Mark's now retired or moved on or done whatever he's doing. What on earth possessed you to take on a reptile shop? Are you mad?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me,
It was pure freaking naivety. That's what it was.
Yeah,
yeah, so being working in it and managing is totally different to owning it. And that
yeah,
was a big shock. But I'm glad we've done it just
Yeah.
because I enjoy, especially the customer side of it. I
yeah.
love seeing, especially new customers and the younger generation coming in. I love seeing them getting involved, and that for me is what I wanted to carry on doing,
Mhm.
is encouraging the youth to get
Yeah.
into the reptiles. So that's
Yeah.
my biggest thing.
Yeah, I think that's what we're really big on is a lot of our customer base is younger,
Yep.
well, it's kids. And you get people come in and say, I'm really sorry, he just wants to have a look. It's like, please don't be sorry, come
Yeah.
in. And that's, I think, what drives us is seeing that glint in people's eyes and knowing that they're going to come back in 5 years' time and be a customer.
You
Yeah.
So I think
definitely
that's why we did it.
you definitely attract more bees with honey. There's no point
Mm.
being a grump when it comes to the kids. I mean, we're big on kids here. And
Mm.
realistically, for all of those introductory species that we sell, predominantly it's going to be a child that wants it as their pet.
Yeah.
So if you're not child friendly as a shop, you're like literally cutting yourself off at the knees, aren't
Yeah.
you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You've got to do it. But
Yeah.
Exactly.
when you think about the culture of being an employee, then segueing into management ownership, what do you think the biggest culture shock's been? The thing that sort of hit you and you thought, fuck, that's a bit harder than I expected it to be.
Yeah, it was for
It,
me. It's yeah, my day-to-day routine hasn't changed really, but it's now seeing all the bills that go out, and you think, yeah, I saw that with Mark
Yeah.
because I done minimal with it. I didn't have to worry about it.
but it wasn't
Yeah.
coming out of your bank. That's the thing, isn't
But
it? It
yeah,
now comes out of our bank.
yeah.
Yeah, you
Now
don't
I look
feel
at
the
it,
sting. When you're
Yeah.
an employee, you don't feel the
yeah,
sting.
and that's what it was. It's yeah, for me, I was like, yeah, I can do this. I've been doing it for years, and then yeah, like wow, okay, that's this is hard.
Yeah.
It's harder than what I thought it'd be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I mean, you're making a go of it, and it seems like you've absolutely nailed the diversity. I mean, every shop owner will keep half an eye on what other shops are up to. So, I've seen your stock list and I've been down your shop and it's a lovely shop. I really like your shop and I like that's the breeding room you sat in now, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I really was impressed with your breeding room. And I mean, maybe we ought to talk about that for a minute. What projects have you got ongoing? Because I was really impressed with the species list that you're not necessarily,
Well,
that's not for sale, but that you is your
yeah.
wheelhouse. You know what I mean? And
So in this room now,
yeah.
we've got the
Krubos.
Cribos behind us
Mhm.
from you.
Yeah.
Um, the radiated rat snakes,
King,
various Boiga,
King Rat.
king rats, Dumerals, Madagascan ground boas, Sonoran boas, Ridley eye,
Brazilians.
Boa occidentalis, Iquitos
Yeah,
boas,
Transpicos, tricolors. Yeah.
Eastern Tanzania, Western Tanzania,
Nice.
white-lip pythons.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean that's like a murderer's row of species that people want to work with. And
Yeah.
you've managed to construct that collection on the back of or in spite of being new shop owners. That's not easy. If I even as an established shop for 22 years, I wanted to put together that murderer's row, I'd need 15, 20 grand and like another shop to do it in. So, kudos that you've been able to construct a collection as diverse and select as that in the
It's
short
been, I think,
period of time.
it something that we are stupidly proud of, but it's also been a massive downfall
Yeah.
Right.
because we went all out.
Mhm.
As we used to come up to you and be like, well, thanks to you.
Sorry,
That will have that, will have that. And
I may have served your addiction a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
tiny bit.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so it's we're so proud of it, and in a few years
It's going to pay off.
it will pay off massively because we're gonna enjoy what we do. We enjoy what we do now, but in a few years' time, it will be amazing and it will pay off. But like for what we've spent out to get this collection,
Yeah.
sometimes you think we should have kept that in the bank because
Yeah.
right now we could use that.
Yeah.
But then it swings and roundabouts because in a few years' time we'll have it. So
Yeah, I mean, it's gritting you. Like, it's like gritting your teeth and just keeping moving forward because I mean, it's a difficult time for everyone out there. I don't think that any shop, even the people that would claim that they're killing it at the minute, given the cost of living crisis, the economy, energy costs, everything else, it's a really subdued market to be part of at the minute. And it doesn't matter who you are. You could be like the gold standard of Reptile Center. People still haven't got the money or as much money as they would normally. And then so it's hard. But then you're just desserts if in 2-3 years time, once all of these projects mature and you start producing species not only that you will easily sell and that will be relatively high value, not high value enough that they become exclusive, but high value enough that they have meaning when you sell them. But
yeah,
equally, then you will also have shops that will want to be trading partners with you. That then gives you a open door to far greater levels of stock diversity than you would have had otherwise. So
yeah,
it is
exactly.
it's a self-fulfilling thing, and I think it's really good. And that room I was buzzing about. I mean, the shop is well presented, it's lovely, it's a nice shop, but that breeding room for me, you could see the engine, like your brains working on what you were doing, and I could
Mm.
spot it straight away. And it's like, yeah, man, this is legit. This is it's gonna be sick when it comes off. But it's just getting there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
to go back
Yeah,
to go back to the shop stuff. How long have you been running C&T Exotics now?
it'd be a year on Valentine's Day.
Okay, okay. So I mean, really neophyte then, really new.
Yeah,
And to like just thinking back through various boigers, we're not talking about tiddler boigers, we're talking about sub-adult stuff and adult pairs of Iquitos Peruvian red tails, and then
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
like adult
Everything, pretty much everything in this room is near on adult.
yeah. So, hopefully by the end of like this summer, you'll have already seen a certain level of production, which is going to seriously bolster your coffers. Do you know what I mean? And that
Cost. It
yeah,
would be nice.
yeah. Well, it's going to come, and I've seen the rigs, and I've seen the stats, and I've seen the setups, and it's bang on. So I don't really think that you've got anything to worry about in that regard. You're going to be absolutely great. What do you think the biggest struggle has been running a shop as a new shop? Because you've literally, I mean, we've like to frame it. I've been going as long as I have. I've seen recessions and I've seen growth, and then I've been through the housing crisis in 2008. So you guys have like invested what I can only assume is quite a sizable amount of money that then within 3-5 months of opening up the shop, an energy crisis the likes of which we've never fucking seen.
Yeah.
It's like a freight train. And, you know, that, I mean, it's come as a culture shock to me. So, as two people that are really enthusiastic, they've opened up their new shop and then this happens. That must have been like, oh, for God's sake. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Scary. It was scary.
Scary is literally the nail on the head, really. It's been horrific. That's literally the only way I can put it.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, it's been days and sort of weeks of like anxiety, and
Yeah.
some days you just wanted to like cry because it's
Yeah.
like, oh, is this going to work? Because we need it to work, we want it to work. And it's
Absolutely.
like, so yeah, it's scary.
Yeah.
They don't.
But
I think the public when they watch this, they don't realize the amount of ourselves that we offer to our shops. Like the
Yeah,
amount of
definitely.
commitment. You are 110% wrapped up in it, sleeping with it, taking it home, on it all the time. So, to hear that a new shop with all of this forward momentum's opened up, and then the energy crisis, and then everything else. And this isn't unique to you. This is affecting the entire nation.
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
You know, this isn't to frame you as being like struggling more than anyone else. Everybody's struggling because
Yeah.
it's one of those things. With it, I mean, have you had an impact to your energy costs? Have you gone up at all, or have you managed to get away with it? Or
So I suppose in a way we're lucky because we never, we fixed at the point where it was just starting to go to shit.
right,
So
okay,
we've never had the lower numbers to compare it to.
right, okay,
So now that we're paying whatever we're paying, we don't, let's just say it's, I don't know, £800 a month now. We were never paying £400 a month.
yeah,
So we don't have it to compare it to. When we first took over, we got slapped
Yeah.
Hmm.
with a 3.5 grand bill for a month of electricity.
No way.
Yeah,
That was
because of a
out of
miscommunication.
contract. Like it was like out of contract.
Yeah,
Like
Yeah.
bumped up figures. Jesus Christ. Yeah, that'd be
yeah,
enough to make me cry as well. I'd be like,
yeah. Oh, yeah, we cried. We cried.
I
That,
bet you
they
did.
Yeah,
just open and we've got about 3.5 grand bill
yeah,
sitting on our lap, and it's like, right, we need to earn money to pay for this, but they want it now.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was tough. That was
And I think we just paid for this room.
yeah,
So as you can imagine, the bank account was like, no, no, you're not paying a 3.5 grand bill
Yes.
because you've got nice new Vivs. And I'm like, take the Vivs back.
Yeah. Fucking have
Well,
them.
we
Have
couldn't.
them.
Yeah, go. If you want them.
If you were approached knowing what you know now, and someone said, "Look, I really want to open a shop," what would you say to them?
Don't. No, I'm joking.
yeah. It's
Hold on,
don't
just pause there. Pause there. The video seems to have gone all blurry your end for some reason.
Mm,
Still coming
I
through.
don't know why.
Let me just pause the recording and we'll. And we're back now in HD. I don't know what's gone on. We're blaming Tony. Me and
Oh,
Carl.
thanks.
Me and Carl have decided it's Tony's.
yeah.
Hmm.
So before we stopped, I was asking you if somebody approached you and asked you for advice regarding opening a shop, what would your advice to them be with you having done it within 12 months?
Well, advice would be yes, really look into it. Speak to other shop owners first before you sort of jump into it.
Yeah.
Get advice, and yeah, just generally just do research for finding where to open up as well. Just don't open up anywhere just because there's an empty shop. Just
Yeah.
find out if there's a market in that area as well.
Because that's almost what we did. We very nearly opened up a completely separate premises before
Right.
Mark said, "No, why don't you buy Amizu? Well, buy
Yeah.
this."
Mm.
And thank God we didn't, because I think if we'd started new, we'd be done.
Yeah.
Right.
Because we had an existing customer base coming here,
Mhm.
or customers that had been here previously that then came back. So I think massively it's don't get carried away
Mhm.
and think slowly and smart. Um, it doesn't have to all be done at once.
Yeah.
Do it bit by bit. Because if you've got, let's just say you've got 100 grand you're sat on, that does not go far. I
No.
can promise you right now that does not go far.
Yeah.
So do it slowly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's definitely two trains of thought. You see, you can set up a brand new shop cheaper than potentially buying a going concern. But like you said, the trade-off is you then don't have the established clientele that are coming.
Yeah.
That is unless you open up next door to an existing shop, but I'm not sure that they're going to thank you for that. Do you know what I mean? So, and I've seen that happen in Sheffield, like two shops that have now gone, one opened 100 meters away from another shop. And it's like you're just both chopping each other off at the knees. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
But like, I think taking that going concern um, a mature area to serve is good because that's your live foods, your frozen foods, all of your basics that are gonna pay your bills each week before you do other stuff. Like Baden opening up at Colville in Leicester, he felt lucky because there was Scales and Tails in Leicester proper that had been there years. Dave had gone on to do Big Cats and stopped doing the reptiles and was no longer really functioning as a reptile shop. And he'd been there for 20 plus years. So when he went in Leicestershire, there was this mature hobby that maybe temporarily going online, whatever else, or juggling, getting bits and pieces. So when Baden opened up in Colville, luckily he had this swell of people go to him,
Yeah.
and he's capitalized on that. So I mean, he's a spawny little shit that's managed to open up a new shop and gain a customer base at the same time, straight out the can. So
Yeah, see, that does not happen. That's
yeah,
not something that it would happen. It wouldn't happen to anyone else.
no, it's like lightning in a
He's
bottle.
just
You're just not going to do it all
yeah,
the time, are you? Do you know what I mean?
lucked it out. The lucky sod.
Yeah, well, that's the way the cookie crumbles, isn't it? You know,
But fair play to him. Well done.
I mean, we here, like, we were in Leeds on Kirkstall Road, and then we moved to Sheffield, and we moved to Sheffield with no clientele whatsoever. So we had to do the start from scratch thing, except we had the accrued bills of being a shop that had been in business for 8 years. So it's like,
Yeah.
Jesus. So that was, we had some seriously knee-shakingly bad times when Snakes and Adders
Yeah.
in Sheffield. It was seriously hard. So I know exactly what like those sort of lean times feel like. And whilst we're not there yet, you know, I've now got 2 full-time members of staff. This energy crisis is not helpful.
No.
You know, it is what it is. What do you think? What do you think the key skills of your shop are? What do you think you do really well? And then to counterpoint that, are there areas that you want to improve upon that you haven't quite got nailed down, or that you want to change? Or
We were talking about this earlier. So for me, when I look at us as a team, so we've got us two and then Josh.
Yep.
Josh is a long-term friend, but also now works for us 3 days a week.
Yeah.
So you've got 3 people with very different interests within the hobby.
Right.
So when all of that's put together, we get a quite diverse stock list.
Yeah.
And that's why, because we all instantly put our own thoughts into the stock list and what we want.
Yeah.
So Carl, for example, loves anything that wants to bite your face off. Yeah, it's pretty quite simple.
Yes.
Quite simple. Anything fast, shitty, bitey, and horrific, he loves.
Why not?
You've got Josh, who loves anything big, fat, and ugly.
Right.
Yeah.
That literally sums Josh up. He loves anything derpy, fat, ugly, and then monitors. He's a monitor mad.
Right. Okay.
And then I love all my boas and the localities. Don't say that because he'll judge me.
What, your corns?
And my corn snakes.
I'm not going to judge you for your corn snakes. If you like corn snakes, you like corn snakes.
No, I love
lovely. It's lovely. How many joking corn snakes are fine.
Yeah, no, I like my corn snakes. All right, leave him alone. Stop it.
Oh,
and then other random pretty stuff. I don't do the bitey stuff. I don't come to work to get bitten.
Yeah, it's just to keep you on your toes.
Pussy.
Yeah, keep your reflexes up. That's what it's there for, isn't it, Carl? Keeps you
sharp. Oh yeah. Yeah.
So that you think that the diversity you've managed to put together on the stock list, which is an incredibly impressive stock list. I'm not just saying it's a shit hot stock list. You think that that's probably one of your key strengths, being able to attract people to come to the shop.
Yeah, and then obviously we've got the different knowledge between all 3 of us. So
yeah,
none of us are afraid to say that's not my area of expertise and go and get someone else.
Yes,
you know, so we're handy. It's handy that we've got a member of the team that 9 times out of 10 knows what they can talk about and what they can't talk about. So I think that's probably the better.
Yeah, well, it's definitely better not to bullshit. There will be shops out there that will bullshit because it's not their area of expertise. My weak link was always been invertebrates. I know how to look after them, but as far as all the taxonomy or the really drilled down care, they just don't really interest me that much. That's the painful truth. Like, so Pixie does that. I don't need to worry. Whereas the snakes and all that sort of stuff, I know that I can handle that and that's not an issue. So I'm sort of listening to her with the spiders. She's listening to me with that, you know. And obviously Becky's doing all the work that she does in the back, feeding everything on and getting everything established. So we're the sort of same where there's a a key skill set for each team member, which seems to
Mm.
complement, you know. What do you think you need to work on, or that you're not quite where you want to be with? You know, is there anything that you think that I'd like to expand inverts, or I think we need a new bank of bibs, or this, that, and the other? You know.
So in terms of the shop, we want to do a whole refit.
Okay.
Some of those bibs out there are 20 years old.
Mhm.
Yeah, so
So
big job. Big job.
yeah,
Well, I mean, same. 15 years old, 16 years old. They set these
yeah,
bibs in the shop, but who's going to invest 25,000?
yeah. There's no point doing it right now. What's the point?
Got to wait for it to improve. There's no
Yeah.
choice but to do so.
Right now we're functional like you are, so we might as well just sit on it and wait.
Yeah.
It's, we might want it, but we can't have it.
Use what we got, make it the best of it.
Yeah, exactly.
But,
We're doing what we can.
You look at the forums and you see, like, the vociferousness of like the advancement lobby, and like, you've got to do this, that, and the other, and it's all got to be cutting edge. It's like cutting edge costs fucking money, bro. And I haven't just one Viv that I'm doing. I've got to do 60 Vivs. And
Exactly.
so 60 halogens, 60 T5 kits, 60 thermostats, all the rest of it. So it's all got to be new. If I'm doing it right, I'm doing it once and I'm doing it right. I'm not doing it half-assed. But that costs money, and you can't just do it all the time, and you can't just change immediately. It's unrealistic, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. Definitely. It's like our biggest bugbear at the moment, that we want all the new swanky Vivs out the front that look nice, that have got all the top equipment in, and we will get there. We know we will.
Yeah.
But right now we just can't do it, and we're functioning, and that's the way it is. It's the way it's got to be, I think.
What choice is there? What choice is there? So if you both had to pick a species in the breeding room that you wanted to work, like, they're your pride and joy, your favorite, what are you most looking forward to producing personally for each of you?
I know what you're gonna say.
Melanota for me. So yeah, the Bariga for me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Which species? Sorry.
Melanota.
Oh, Melanota. Okay.
Yeah, so we've got Dendros, but they're not, probably maybe next year, I would say.
Okay.
But yeah, so definitely Melanota for.
Yeah. Okay.
What
about you?
Got two. The Eastern Sands is one of them.
Yeah.
Because they are bloody breathtaking, and I adore them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we've just got an adult pair of white lip pythons yesterday.
Nice.
And so and the Crebos. So it's pretty hard because we've got so much, and there's so many things we're really looking forward to.
And not one of them is like a run of the mill bit of kit either. Golden white lip pythons that nobody really produces in any numbers. Eastern Sands in here that are almost like never found. So the fact that you've got a pair that's even approaching that sort of size is awesome. And because the Volantini knock around, the Westerns, and we've got those, the nosy combers, but the Easterns, they're really hard to come by. And then obviously Crebos, because everybody loves Crebos. Just, Drymarchon are definitely in the ascendancy when it comes to the popularity of colubrids. They're kind of leading the charge, and yeah, those yellowtails you took were phenomenal.
Yeah, they're amazing.
Yeah,
they're horrible.
They're arseholes. The definition of arseholes.
Yeah,
but they're stunning. Yeah, we came in yesterday and we've got the Madagascar ground boas locked, and that's another one that's like so exciting.
Yeah, I mean, going back to the early mid-90s, there was some Madagascarensis knocking around, but then nobody really seemed to produce any more, and they definitely fell by the wayside. You'd go through fits and starts with Dumarelli, and they'd be produced in good numbers. Like, not all the time, but maybe every 3 or 4 years, there'd be a glut of baby Dumarelli that had come out, and a few breeders would knock them out. But Madagascarensis, no way. Do you know what I mean? They're nowhere to be found. So the fact that you've got a pair, because from what I remember, most of the stuff that used to come up were single males that would come up every now and again, and finding a female.
We had the opposite.
Really?
We had 2 adult females ready to go, and we could not find a male in anywhere.
Really?
And we were getting so annoyed about it because we were like, they're literally ready to go. They're perfect. And then one of our customers came in, and Josh was speaking to her, and she's a lovely little old lady.
Right.
And he said, oh, she was buying massive rats. And he was like, what do you keep? And she said, we've got a Madagascan ground butter. And we were like, oh, is that male or female? And she went, male, do you want it? I hate it. It's angry. It's horrible. And we were like, yes, yes, we do. Bring it in.
Yes, please, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Be nice.
So, like, when you've obviously got the projects on, are there any breeding projects that have gone tits up? Because, like, you when we're trying to talk to hobbyists or we're doing whatever else, most of the experience we gain as shopkeepers isn't from the stuff that we do right. It's learning from cock ups that maybe go sideways. Have you ever had anything that's maybe not quite worked out that you're frustrated by, that you'd love to have another crack at, or something like that?
More, I'd say more. We had a load of eggs, didn't we? That
Yeah, like high end corn snakes and some, I can't remember
Transpe
what it was, Transpicos and
Transpicos.
some other cool rat snakes. I can't
Mhm.
remember what it was.
Yeah, I can't remember. But we had a branded um, incubator.
Yeah.
So bought one in, thought great, try them out, and came in one day and it literally was overheating
Mhm.
and basically cooked everything. Every egg was lost because they were like hard-boiled eggs.
Yeah.
Literally
And
lost it.
and they were literally probably,
Everything.
I'd probably say, a month off from hatching.
Yeah.
So everything died in there. It's just,
Mm.
yeah, so annoying.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
Transpecos would have been really cool to see, like more of them produced. You just don't see enough
yeah,
of them. I mean, the Xanthic female we've got that dropped slugs last year, just infertile eggs. So I'm hoping she's pregnant again, so we can
Mm.
try this again. But they seem to breed early compared to the other stuff. They seem to be a full
Yeah.
yeah,
6 to 8 weeks ahead of where the corn snakes will be. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
So
yeah.
I don't know whether the fertility will be there because they're in the shop, and so I've not really cooled them properly or anything like that. So who knows? I'm probably destined for loads more infertile, and that'll cheer me up no end. Do you have
Um,
favorites in the shop? Do you have favorite animals to work with? We've already discovered you like your corn snakes. Like, but is there another one that
Mm.
you might like one that's just a particularly nice personality, or that's full of spunk and wants to bite you, or something that you
mm,
Yeah.
I think Noodle for me, who is my very basic hypo Burmese python. But I
okay,
love him.
right?
Literally, he's like a puppy, and it was the first snake you ever bought me, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So
Uh,
he's sentimental anyway. It's not. Oh, oh, it's bully Tony Day. Um, yeah, he's just sentimental, I think, and
yeah,
bearing in mind what we've got in this room, he would be the last to go,
right,
without a shadow of a doubt.
yeah. So he's like a love of your life then, really.
Yeah, 100%.
You got a
I
favorite?
adore him.
No,
Um,
not really. Well, Boriga,
That thing,
yeah, it's sassy, melanota, yeah, but it's just
horrible.
no real sort of favourite. I like them all. So if
Yeah,
anything that wants to bite me is a favourite for me. If
yeah.
it bites, I'm happy.
Yes, yeah, I do admit to liking things that have a penchant for human blood. I don't know what it is, but I just like the fact that they're willing to have a go back, like and
Yeah.
being able to work around them. Do you think that your shoppers within our specialism that is reptiles, do you think that you've developed a special interest in a certain sector? So like we're big in oddball colubrids. I know you got an interest in them. Would you say that that's the way that you're going, or do you try and keep it a broad church so that the focus is on spread equally, or do you think
So
that?
one thing we've always said is we never wanted to specialize in one species.
Yes.
Um, because there's so many different things that we enjoy keeping, isn't
Yeah.
there? So we never wanted to just be known for the boas or just be known for the colubrids.
Mhm.
We enjoy keeping it
Yeah.
all.
Bit of everything, and that way you can get a whole range of clientele.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
And it just makes it all more enjoyable when you're breeding it and producing it because everything's so different.
Are there any species that you don't sell or that you try not to stock because you think they're problematic?
Yes. After what I've just said, I don't do berms.
Mhm.
Don't do it. Retics,
Yeah, well, especially like we've got true Indians, haven't we?
Yeah, we've got the Trindians,
But
yeah,
we
but
won't push people to breed. We don't encourage breeding of big
the true
birds.
Indians are different because they're obviously
Don't
they're
see
you
them.
don't see them.
They're the only giant we'll sell, them and the Pimbiora, like because they're protected. So, and they're at a price
Yeah.
point where, and they're sassy. So, like they can be really huffy and puffy when they want to be. So, equally, not many people are going to walk in and want an Indian rock python.
Yeah, exactly that.
Usually because they've seen some dickhead on YouTube like fish hooking baby retics out of eggs, and they want to emulate that divvy over in California. Do you know what I mean?
I've got retics, but the difference is we can provide them with a shed for
Yeah,
them to live in.
yeah,
Not every person can do that, so I don't want to even risk selling a retic to the wrong person. Um, Monitors, big monitors, we won't touch. Bosks,
Mhm.
Yeah, boss,
I don't even bother with bosks.
green anacondas.
Green anacondas, the water dragons, just because I think the market's saturated, you can pick them up for so cheap, and I'm just like, no.
Including
Well,
koalas.
I think they've elevated the water dragons, or they're proposing to do it anyway to CITES, so that'll make it harder to get anyway. But yeah, sometimes I mean, people have asked me as well, 'cause my list isn't that dissimilar to yours. In fact, it's almost carbon copy. It's better to not even enter into it and let somebody else pick up that slack if they want to sell that sort of stuff. I haven't got
Yeah,
to get it. I haven't got to deal with it. And I haven't got to deal with that sort of ethical thing of, I know you're not going to give it a fucking 12-foot bid. Do you know what I mean? And I just don't want to even put myself in the point where I'm going to row with somebody about it. No, mate, we don't sell them. End of conversation.
yeah, that's it. We do get quite a lot of people asking for bosks, and it's instantly sorry, but no.
Turtles as well.
Yeah, turtles. We don't do turtles.
We won't do turtles anymore, just because, especially this area, is a load up for rescuing. So
Yeah.
we're like, nah, we're not doing them anymore. If
No.
someone can provide the setup big enough for an adult and willing to do it, we'll help them out. But yeah,
As a standard, it's a no.
Our canals and ponds are snidered with turtles,
Yeah.
with wild
it's the same here.
So you're not doing yourself any favors with that sort of stuff. And it's a shame because turtles are wicked, but you need a certain amount of space, certain amount of knowledge, and basically you're setting up a really sort of large scale tropical fish tank basically for a lot of it. And it's just not possible, Like, so I've seen some matters knocking about recently, and it's like a matter's the size of a dustbin lid when it's full grown.
Yeah.
Where is it going to go? Because it needs to be able to swim, and you're feeding it live fish because it vacuum feeds them up. So, God.
It's not something that I ethically feel comfortable doing. Like I wouldn't want it on my conscience, knowing that I've just sold. It's for us. Of course, we're a business. We have to make money. That's without saying. But that doesn't take away the fact that we are animal lovers, and we will never ever, to the best of our knowledge, put an animal at risk. It's not what we're here for. We're here to advise, to encourage, and to help, not to hinder the hobby and pump out stupid animals to stupid homes.
Do you think, like you just mentioned it then, we are a business, we're here to make money, which should go without saying. And I mean, you would have to be a certain special flavor of naive to not realize when we're doing trade time, we're businesses talking to other businesses and we are profit making businesses. Is profit a dirty word? And can we navigate the ethics of being reptile keepers and sellers of reptiles and make profit? And should we be ashamed of it?
I think no, because if you're making profit, you're selling the right equipment.
Yeah.
So to me, if you're selling the right equipment, you should be making a profit. Otherwise, we won't be here.
Yeah.
Then someone has to go to someone else that who knows they might just be selling willy nilly one of these private breeders that don't know what they're doing and just send them cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just because it's difficult, isn't it? Because of course, we're here to make a profit, but as I said, we're animal lovers. We're not here to make a profit. I'd rather not make a profit than have a shit ton of dead animals on my hands. Of course, I would.
Well, that's the thing that gets me. There's nothing will serve our businesses by selling ill animals, because in the world of the World Wide Web and online reviews and everything else, you're going to get found out pretty quick if you're selling shit in shit kits Do you know what I mean? And it's not conducive to staying in business. I mean, profit can't be a dirty word. I mean, for me, I make no bones about it. I'm a businessman. I'm 41 years old. I've got a wife. I've got sons. I've got responsibilities away from the shop that I need to meet. And I'm not here to, like, do everybody a favor. Like, I was talking to Jordan about it in the first episode, like, giving away your time freely and all the rest of it, and the thankless task it can be at times. And then, you've got to be able to try and make it work. Plus, how many animals have you got in your shop that cost money to maintain, to feed? We're not stocking t-shirts, jumpers, and hoodies that just sit on a coat hanger. Do you know what I mean? Where it's stocked, leave it, it's fine. That stock's eating 250 rodents a week. It's eating 3,000 crickets a week. 4 bulk bags of substrate a month just to clean them out and keep them going. People don't see that or even acknowledge it, and that all needs profit.
I think it's a massive thing that I think people don't see is that we're not making a profit to go on holiday or to do whatever the hell we do. What we want to do. We're making a profit to feed our families, to keep these animals, to carry on doing what we're doing, and to work in an industry that we adore and love. We're not doing it to make millions, because I can tell you now, it ain't freaking happening.
No, listen, no shop is making millions, and if anybody's deluded enough to think that they're going to make that kind of money, it is a relatively low income, but your passion. So that's how you offset it. Like we're hand to mouth a lot of shop owners, just because
100%.
Everything goes back into the shop. And if you can have a week away in a caravan once a year, you're doing really well. That's it. That's it. The pearl of the north. You know what I mean? It's that sort of thing where they think that, you've got a £1,000 snake in a Viv. Oh God, you're making millions. Well, that £1,000 snake cost you 650 quid. And when you sell that £1,000 snake, the first £200 going to the vat man. You don't even get to see.
Exactly.
They just don't, like, if you, even out of that grand, if you can nick £200, you're doing really well.
Yeah, exactly.
Then you've got your tax bill to pay on top of that. And Josh doesn't work for free, so you've got to pay him. It's crazy the way that they've got no concept of how much it costs to run a shop on a weekly basis.
Yeah. And another thing they don't like, we have recently, we're seeing it a lot as well, is when people go online to buy the wrong stuff and then come to us to ask us for all the advice as to why they've gone wrong. And it's like, if you'd come to us in the first place, I could have just saved you 200 quid.
Yeah.
Because you've just spent so much money and you're now going to have to spend more money recovering what you've messed up.
Yeah.
Because
cheaper animals as well. Finding cheaper animals from not all. There's a lot of great private breeders there, but there are some just do it because they've got 2 animals to breed, and they go, "Oh, we've got a cheaper tortoise." Right? Okay, it's tiny. How old is that? Oh, it should be massive by now. It's not doing it right. They don't buy the setup from the private breeders, but they're happy to let it roam around the house, free roam without no lighting, because the private breeder does that. It's
you're paying for our advice, for the years that we've put into learning what we're doing. And the blood, sweat, and tears that go into it. We're not here. I don't know. It's a difficult one to navigate. I get that we're always going to compete with online, but it's frustrating. I think especially at the moment when you then get it coming back to you for advice, and it's like,
we just get them brazenly opening up their phone and looking at Amazon in store, and you're like,
oh yeah, we've had that. Yeah, we've had.
It's like, dude, you've just been stood here for 45 minutes talking to me about, I don't know, a corn snake or a royal python kit and all the rest of it, and you have sucked me dry of every ounce of advice that I can give you. I can't do any other jobs because I'm talking to you exclusively, and your repayment for that service was to just go, I'll just get it on Amazon, it's cheaper. And it's like, really? Wow. Okay. Thanks, guys. You know what I mean?
And I think the thing as well is they don't realise that the stuff on Amazon half the time is shite.
Yeah, cheap Chinese.
No, we
Right.
don't stock cheap Chinese stuff. We're supplying specialist equipment.
Yeah.
So of course it's going to be more expensive because it's going to keep your animal alive and healthy.
Well,
Um,
biggest one for me is on the tortoise bulbs that they sell on the little
Yeah,
bendy arm that are
yeah.
that
It's
are a
that
advertised
bit, there's
time
a
of
bit,
year.
UVA and UVB.
yeah, yeah,
It's like they haven't got any, and I think some of them even had UVC in them, which was like skin cancer material. Do you know what I mean? It's
it's
awful.
mad,
And the fact that
absolutely
they can,
mental.
yeah, it's the fact that they can get away with advertising it, and they'll come into the shop and argue the toss with you, and it is a hard one because they bought it for like £9.97 or whatever ridiculously low price it is, and then you go, oh, actually, you need this Mercury Vapor, or you need this Pro T5, or you need whatever else, and you're like, oh,
56.99.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. And that's a far harder sell,
yeah,
and they just don't believe you. But then when you refuse to sell them the tortoise, then they get all arsey, and it's like, well,
Yeah,
what do you want me to do? Like you
yeah,
haven't
yeah.
got the right stuff, so I'll just be your enemy and suck up another 1-star review for refusing to sell you an animal because I don't want it to.
yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
so accurate. It's painfully accurate.
Well, with doing the shop and doing everything else, do you guys try and have any hobbies or do anything away from the shop to keep yourself entertained, or am I like being deluding myself and you just do this 150?
That would really require some extra time, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
And
used
the
to,
energy.
I used
Yeah,
to do fishing. I'll give that up a long time ago, did I?
Yeah. By the
Yeah.
time I get home, I'm opening the whiskey and going to bed. Like
yeah.
that's not a joke.
I should
It's
say as well, I need to publicly thank Tony and Carl as well because they sent me some whiskey for Christmas and I was made up with it, absolutely
oh,
made up
bless
with
you.
it, and I've been enjoying that and drinking far more of it than I should, which is why I've now got gout in my knee and one of my big toes. Which
You're welcome.
obviously, what we've not touched on properly is you mentioned Ember being in the shop. You're raising
Mhm.
your daughter whilst you're running the shop, and you want to go into just negotiating that how hard it is because you obviously like childcare is probably a stretch, and then you're trying to manage a young daughter, a toddler, and then running a shop and then looking after animals. Yeah, that must be a hell of a balancing act to try and.
Yeah, it's tough, but one of the main reasons, well, I say main, it was a very very big factoring part into us doing this was I didn't want someone else raising my daughter.
Mhm.
I wanted to spend every second I can with her. So the fact that she can come to work is
It's lovely to see her face when she's starting to learn about the animals, what she can and can't touch, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's amazing. She's
she's
got
got
no
no
fear.
fear, none
No,
whatsoever. And like you'll have a Boiga out and she'll run up to you like and try and stroke it, and I'm like no no
yeah, no, no, no.
go away. But it is hard. It's not easy. But then childcare, she goes to nursery Friday afternoons. But if we wanted her to go to nursery full time, that's £1,500 a month.
Wow.
We don't even earn that.
Yeah.
Like that's the truth of it. Like one of us doesn't even earn that.
Mhm.
So for us, it is what it is, and we have to do it, and
But I
we
think
love doing it.
you can imagine that, like, growing up, she's going to have this amazing network of memories, the animals,
Yeah.
the people that no doubt make a huge fuss of her when they see her,
Hmm.
mum and dad being around all the time. There's a lot of pluses there because so many kids, like you say, they are shipped out. I've got to get back to work. I can't raise my daughter or my son and spend the hours that I want with her. I need to get back to the grindstone. I need to get up that ladder of promotion and everything else. So I think it's fantastic. And she's going to look back with this absolute adoration for reptiles, no fear of any living creature because she's met them all. And it's like, what?
Hmm.
So yeah, Burmese python, who gives a shit, bro? Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And, and then mum and dad are around. They're
Yeah,
around.
yeah.
Like my mum and
That's
dad,
it.
they were off, they were doing the work, and it was not necessarily nursery, but like my mum was a full-time nurse, my dad was the chief executive of a hospital. I never bleeding saw my dad. He was out the house at 6:30 in the morning, didn't get back till 6:30, 7 o'clock at night. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
there's elements of that I miss, and whilst it might seem odd to certain people that you've got her in the shop with you, to me it makes perfect sense, because if I could have my time again and spend more time with my son Cole, I would have loved to have done it. The whole reason we moved to Sheffield was so that I didn't have the hour commute from Leeds to Sheffield, because by the time I got in, he'd already be in bed. So I was missing a bunch of stuff, and being on hand in Sheffield meant that I could help with the childcare and stuff as well. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, I think it's fantastic. I think she's just gonna
She's
network and
she's
then
she's a character. Our customers, we've got some absolutely amazing customers, and they love her,
Yeah.
and she has no fear. She literally runs out, says hello, and gives a guided tour around the shop.
all right,
So we don't have to.
coming with me. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, she's great. She's a little firecracker, bless her.
Good,
Yeah.
good. So when you think about the hobby and when you started to where it is now, how do you think that the hobby's changed? Has it changed for better or worse? Or maybe could you give an example of how it's improved, and maybe how it's maybe taken a backward step as well, so we've got both sides.
So yeah, so keeping the torch from a young age, I've seen massive difference in heating and lighting equipment.
Yeah.
So when I first got my tortoise, I just got a tortoise, and when I went to Amersham shop, he sold me a tank with just a light heat light in there. That's it, no UV or anything.
Mhm.
But to see what we've got now, to mercury vapors, UVs, it's thermostats as well. It's just it's just
Yeah,
seeing obviously.
that research and development's really paying off.
100%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. I think it's like now the hobby is in such a fortunate position where we can replicate environments, to the best of our ability if people are willing to do it.
Mhm.
So we're very, very fortunate that we can keep some unbelievable species because we've got the resources to do it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think it's improved massively in that respect.
The species diversity that can be maintained in a healthy manner without dying. Those things that would just fall off a perch or fall off a branch, thinking of certain chameleons, maybe certain frogs and stuff. So to have got this misting system development, UV light development, heat source control, yeah, I think that's definitely the biggest change for me as well. I didn't have stats on my first tanks when I first got them; I just had a heat pad in the bottom of the tank, you know.
Mm.
And it took a good few years for me to sort of realize the importance of them, and then you see the way that microclimate and Habitat have developed these day-night control systems. I mean, microclimate are leading the way; they're kicking ass.
Yeah.
That new connected unit's insane.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are really raving about it. And just that level of control is definitely a huge plus for the hobby, for the benefit of the animals.
Yeah.
Not just like, the animals are benefiting from that. What do you think's got worse with the hobby?
The separation
Yeah.
within the hobby.
Yeah, the fractures. Yeah,
Yeah, we're all one hobby, but within the hobby there are just groups of, like, you go online, I'm not being funny, you go on social media and you see the anger, the hate, and it's like you're all in this together, guys.
Mhm.
If one of us goes down, we all go down.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
why don't you all just band together a smidgen,
yeah,
and we could have something absolutely amazing. But
yeah.
instead you're arguing about whether a rack is good or not.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the arguments that they have a place, but
Yeah, 100%.
they can't be 100% of the conversation.
No.
I recognize that you don't agree with my husbandry standards, but I also recognize that if issues that we face, such as the Scottish issue with the whitelist, comes to pass, whether I'm the most advanced keeper on it doesn't make a fucking note of difference. You can't keep it, and if it ain't on the list,
Exactly.
you ain't having it. So you're either going to start banding together and working together, or we all just die. We can't move forward. We can't do anything else. I
That's
definitely,
it.
I agree with you. I think that the fractured nature of the hobby will be what spells its downfall if we're not careful. And that grouping together, the husbandry conversation can take place, and there's nothing wrong with trying to raise standards. I think there's a difference between trying to raise standards and then getting a pitchfork out and going after people and trying to destroy them. Like, on, like
100%.
you just lead with a carrot, don't whip with a stick. You know what I mean?
That's it. You see new keepers going into groups, and I'm just going to use like Facebook and things for example,
Mm.
and then not doing something right,
Mm.
which of course any new keeper's going to make mistakes.
Mhm.
But instead of saying, "Let me help. This is what you need to do," people just attack, and then that person is no longer interested in staying in the bloody hobby because you've scared them off.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's
I
like,
no, I agree completely. I think that it's people expect that you cut you like online or on Facebook. It appears like people expect you to come out of the box fully built, ready to rock and roll as a fully advanced keeper. How many years did it take us to accrue the skill sets that we've got to be able to do what we do now? And not just be able to put a kit together, you've got to be able to explain why you're putting the kit together in that way so that they can understand it. And it's all well and good knowing, some flashy terminology. If you can't break it down and simplify it, simplifying it and making it easy to understand is part of a teacher's path. And you're a teacher by virtue of being a shop owner. That's just the way it works. So it's frustrating then as a teacher, or you're trying to be a teacher, to go online and see what might be a slightly bolshy or a teenager who maybe has a little bit too much vim and vigor about it get destroyed. And it's like the kid was just misguided. He's not a dick. He's 15 and he doesn't know any better, and he just needs guiding rather than smashing to pieces in front of everyone so that you feel big and clever because you've took it to a 15-year-old kid who has watched Brian Balsack and decided that that's the way that he's going to do it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so bearing in mind that it's content culture now, and we're part of it now. Now we're doing this, albeit in a very lo-fi and shitty way because I don't know how to edit video. But the point being is that content is wanted and it's needed, and it's nice to be able to have a voice in the narrative and us be able to have these conversations and say, we don't really like this sort of stuff. Whereas you've got some of the American channels where they are fish hooking baby snakes out of eggs. They are purposefully pissing animals off for clickbait
Yeah.
and trying to get them annoyed. Oh, look, a retic that's just given birth. I'm going to poke her a few times.
Drag her off, yeah.
Try and get the strike because the strike is what gets the views. It's bullshit. But unfortunately, 14, 15, 16-year-olds eat that shit for breakfast. They love it. They absolutely. So, but they're not wrong. They're passionate. Just because they're watching those channels doesn't mean that they don't love the idea of being a keeper. You just got to guide them, man, and that's part of
Exactly
it.
that.
Right? Yeah, absolutely right.
If that's all they know, then how are they ever going to know any better? But if you're
Absolutely.
pushing them down, then all they're going to do is go back to watching what they were watching because it was much kinder.
Yeah, absolutely. There was no judgment. I can do what I want.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm watching this idiot do it. So, I think that we definitely need to tread carefully, particularly with the younger keepers and the teen, tween keepers, to make sure that we're influencing them in a bit more of a positive way. Which, online and in these groups isn't easily done. I mean, the hobby faces, we've touched on it slightly, like sort of certain threats and challenges. Do you think that it's going to be easy for the hobby to navigate it? Do you think there's anything else they can do apart from band together, or is there things that they could do? And do you consider the hobby to be well represented? So the hobby first. We'll discuss shops in a minute.
No, no.
No.
Let's just take, oh God, let's just take the recent show as a pure example.
Okay.
Now, that is representing our hobby, right? Of course, it is. New people stroll in, they see it, they say, wow, look at all this. It's in a dark, dingy nightclub that's freezing cold with no lighting and animals with no heating. Okay, great job, guys.
Yeah. Yeah, if you wanted to do a PR job for the reptile hobby, that Manchester location is about the worst location you could dream of.
And I really, really get they're trying their best to keep it going. I really get that, I do. But at what point are you doing more harm than good by keeping it going?
Yeah.
It's. I mean, I don't know what you think about it.
Yeah,
It's
the same as you, really, because a dark, dingy nightclub is not where you want a first time keeper to go and get their first time snake, lizard, whatever they're getting.
It just feels all underground, doesn't it? With
Yeah,
sticky floors
sticky, stank of alcohol, and
yeah.
because the club had shut probably about 5 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
just not the right place. It's just everything was a shambles. But yeah,
No.
So no, I don't think the hobby is well represented because, like, if you were a new keeper, where would you go? You would see, great, this amazing reptile show. Let's go there.
Yeah.
But what else do you see? We didn't see a single official IHS member talking to people. We did. I don't even think we saw the stand. We see the stand?
yeah. Well, it was, but it's
Oh, it was
right,
like back left,
right in
wasn't
the
it?
corner.
Yeah, yeah. So, and to be honest, if you go to that show, you're not going to walk over to the IHS really boring looking table
Mhm.
and go, let's talk to these people. You're going to go and talk to all
Yeah.
the crowds, and it's just like you're trying to represent something with nothing behind you. You're invisible.
Do
Do
you
you,
do you think that you know we are leaving ourselves wide open? Because if I was an anti and I was going to go to that show, there would be stuff to see at that show that would cast it in a really dim light, from what
yeah,
I understand. Like, really rough. Like like cans pushed to the edge of the room and like sticky floors, knackered toilets, all this sort of stuff in that dark, you
They
know.
would have had a field day.
yeah. It was
Yeah,
literally
that's my concern.
their idea of
Would that they would
perfect.
have a field day?
It was
Yeah, if I was an anti, I'd love that because
Yeah,
that would be ideal.
yeah, yeah.
Everything about that.
yeah,
It almost was like they set it up perfectly to fail.
yeah, yeah,
And it's like you should literally be shit hot on this stuff right now because our hobby is at risk.
yeah,
And actually, all you've done is go, here's some fuel
yeah,
with our really bad venue.
yeah,
We drove in and there were organised crime
Well, that's
people,
the
the
first time.
first one, all outside the venue trying to get money off of people for car parking, threatening people. And then the IHS paid them off allegedly to get rid of them. I don't know how true that is, but that's the rumor that was going around. So
wow.
if I'm hearing that, then what are all the new people hearing? It's like it's embarrassing.
Yeah, it's you hear stories like that and you think that you want to try and be able to present yourself in a certain manner, like whether it be to government. I started doing a certain small amount of that now, and you think that if that's we've got a minimum standard of professionalism that we need to set as an industry. And if the Manchester show is the best that we can do, is the show worth having in its current guise?
Exactly.
Do you think
Exactly.
do you think they would be better off cancelling it until they find another venue?
Without a shadow of a doubt.
100%.
Yeah,
Without a shadow of a doubt.
there's no grey area there. You think the arena is that damaging that it can cause problems.
Yeah.
I mean, we're obviously long term in the hobby, but if we walked in and went, "What the fuck is this?" then
Yeah.
what are new people going to walk in and think?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We know the purpose of the show. We know why we're going there. But if people that are just going there to have a look walk in, they're going to go, "What in the hell?"
Mm-hmm. It's the Joe public that think that keeping them in a box is a problem. Like, and we understand as reptile keepers, they're traveling to the show. It's incredibly short periods of time, and we can negotiate the ethical argument to it because we wouldn't attend. But if Joe Public's walking in, they've already got that going through their head, and we need to improve that level of communication or improve the standards of the show so that they don't feel as compromised ethically by being in there. And you are pandering to them, but that's our public image, so we kind of need to. It's all right being bolshy, saying, "Well, they're only there for a day. They'll be fine." It's like, well, realistically, we've got a name that's pretty dirty and mucky in the sort of pet circles. You've got the antis pushing this rhetoric that is bollocks, absolute bollocks. But then we have a show in a rave club that is corrugated iron with no heating, no lighting, the tables that are falling over and rattling, and all the rest of it, sticky floors, and you just think, wow, holy shit! Like, could you have handed them on a plate any better? Because it just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any
For
sense.
me, if we were at that standard as a shop,
Yeah.
with the lack of heating, the dinginess,
Mm-hmm.
and just how horrible it was, I wouldn't have a license and I wouldn't have any customers. So
Mm.
why is the show okay to do it?
Yes.
As a hobby, set the standard. You should be fine polished. You should be fine tuned to give them no reason to hate on that show. But all you did was do the complete opposite.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair to them, they're probably going to hate on us anyway, regardless of what we do. But I don't think that's an excuse to do the bare minimum. I think that's you still got an ethical compass yourself to think, well, could we make this better? Could we introduce mandatory lighting, mandatory heating, a water source? Could we introduce larger boxes mandated by minimum sizes? Not the size of the AAL or whatever. They still need to be travel boxes and it needs to be workable, but it needs to be where it just looks better, the optics for the public consumption. And the counter argument will be, well, everybody's a member. No, they're given a membership card after they pay £5. They're not members. They're associate members for the day. It's a loophole and it's a technicality. They are members of the public, the uninitiated walking in and seeing it. And that, for me, does pose serious concerns. And we shouldn't be afraid to talk about it. I think that, oh, you can't say that. You can't say that because it'll put the hobby in a bad light. It's not really about that. It's about the fact that these conversations rarely take place.
I mean, if people were going there and then not having that conversation, that's a bad light. But actually, the fact we recognise as a hobby that this isn't good enough.
Yeah. I think the feedback of the show has been nearly overwhelmingly negative. I've not seen hardly any posts where they're absolutely pumping it. Donny had its faults, but Donny was a polished product.
And, yeah, 100%.
And it was a good venue, and it looked the part, and they seem to have really got their systems in place. I think the IHS need to admit that this Manchester venue is deeply flawed and actually prejudicial to what they're trying to do. It's actually going to be their undoing. And if an auntie gets in there with a camera, what the fuck, guys? Jesus. And you know what? You will deserve it because everybody's told you this is a problem and you've not acted. You've not done anything about it. You have a responsibility to do something about it. Do you think that shops are well represented? Politically or lobby-wise or anything like that?
So, I don't know. Obviously, we spoke about this earlier, but I didn't even know that we were represented.
Right. Okay.
And I'm a shop owner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not the first time I've heard it, and I very much doubt that it will be the last during the series.
The only reason I know is because I've seen you guys talking about it in the reptile shop side of things.
Yeah. I think that Repta, I did that follow-up video from Jordan's episode just explaining the infrastructure. And just as a segue to people, if you've not seen it, there is another smaller 17-minute episode that goes through the way that the hobby's organised with its infrastructure. And we touched on it. So Repta, Reptile and Exotic Pet Trade Association, shop owners that don't even know that they have a body, a lobby that protects them, which just seems like the most ridiculous sentence ever. But it's the case. It's insane that's been allowed to happen. And I know that Chris, who is the chairman of Repta, he knows and admits that their communication has been severely lacking. And I think that hopefully we're going to turn a corner and the shops are going to be far more represented than they have in the past. And I think one of the drivers for that is the group that you've just mentioned, the Reptile Shop Owners Association, where we've now got 130 plus of us. So the people that do know are informing others and doing this and doing that, and everybody gets to know. But the fact that there isn't that representation is a real issue, isn't it? Like you don't know that representation's there for your benefit, because at any point you can approach them if you'd wanted or needed, and can you advise on this? Can you help with that? And
So when it used to be AB Zoo,
I've
heard of Reptar, but again, never sort of really knew what they were entirely about. Because Mark never sort of mentioned to me. Again, he said like Chris Newman. I know the name, but I wouldn't know, what really to do. We needed help from. I wouldn't know who to contact, sort of thing. But it's
Yeah,
That's great.
it's definitely an issue that needs to be addressed. But you know, hopefully we've turned a corner and the report writing's taking place now. And yeah, I'm hoping that it really picks up. Where do you
It would be an amazingly useful tool, though, wouldn't it? So if it was a bit like that tackle, bit more put together and known about, then yeah, we could. It would be massive to have that. Even having that group now is massive because I think the energy crisis has definitely banded people together when it comes to reptile shops because we're all in the same boat. We know we're all having the same struggles, and I speak to loads of shop owners now that I probably wouldn't be speaking to if it wasn't for that because we're all relying on each other for stock, for advice, for help.
Yeah, the support
So,
work, that touching in and touching base and being able to say you okay, you know, like that's not always been there. I can tell you categorically it's not always been there. There's maybe been one or two shops traditionally that I would have spoke to. Whereas certainly during this energy thing, you're absolutely right. It has banded people together because the shit was beginning to hit the fan. Like, you know, and to be able to go, are you all right? Or someone message you, how have you been this week? You know, and what do you think to this? And I've had this idea, and having that support network really helps. I mean, we've been each other's shoulders for a few months, particularly me and Tony, like just ranting and raving and swearing at each other and saying
yeah,
fuck's sake. You know what I mean? And I'm doing that with a number of shops, and I think it's wonderful because
yeah,
that community, not competition sort of idea where just because we're shops and we're selling stuff doesn't mean that we haven't got a common goal or a common good or we can't benefit from one another, work together. I think it's fantastic. Where do you see your shop being in 5 years? Where do you want it to be? Are you still in the same store? Have you expanded? Are you obviously thinking about in the mammals and stuff? You know?
There were a few ideas, didn't we?
yeah,
Me personally, I want to keep the shop. I like the shop where it is, good location. But I want either separate facilities for breeding
Hmm.
because I want a bigger room so I could do more educational side as well. I'd do a few educational talks, scout groups, and I'd like to do a little bit more of that.
Yeah.
So I'd like a room where I can just go, oh, this animal, that animal, rather than taking my box of animals to people's houses. They can then come to me, keep the cost lower for them as well, so they don't have to hire a hall or move their furniture in house. So I'd like a slightly bigger facility for breeding and more education side of it as well.
Yeah. What do you see it, Tony? Do you want the same or have you got your own idea?
the educational side of it is definitely more
Yeah.
your side of things. I don't like being put in the limelight. I'm a bit of a wimp.
Mm.
I'm happy to educate in the shop and talk to kids in the shop, but I think the shop is kind of where I'm comfortable doing it. The breeding facility side of it, 100%, because we're going to outgrow this shop when it comes to breeding.
Mhm.
This room is full, and we've still got God knows how many baby snakes out there that most of which came from you, I think. Thanks.
Sorry.
When I'd come up and buy, I'd go, right, I just want these snakes. And then Chaz would go, what about these? Well, what about these? These are nice. Okay. And Carl's like, deal, let's take them.
Yeah. Carl was
Anyway,
Carl was always the easy one. Carl,
yeah. I'm
all I
stood there
need to do is
going,
just do that underneath his
shit.
nose. And he's like, I'll have it. I'll
If
have
it
it.
strikes at me, why not?
That's it.
My nose
Anyway,
strike and that's it. I'm sold.
I'd walk in that door and be like, here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go. Anyway, breeding facility 100%. And for me, right now, the focus is getting the shop done to the standard that we like, and hopefully not feeling that pressure quite as much,
Mhm.
and just being able to go, okay, we're good,
Yeah.
we're fine, and right now we enjoy it, but we go home and go, fucking hell,
Yeah.
every day. So to be able to go home and not go, fucking hell,
Yeah.
would be really nice.
Yeah, I think just to be able to breathe at the end of the day and not take it home with you. I mean, that's all we all any of us want, I think, to be able to do.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're right. The good times are going to come back. Like this energy thing can't carry on forever. Inflation can't carry on forever. So, I think a lot of places will probably just sort of like batten down the hatches a bit. Maybe all of these lofty aspirations we've got for new shop fits and everything else, you got to go on the back burner. It is what it is.
Yeah.
And you work towards it. And people have just got to understand it's a difficult time. They want you to like be all singing, all dancing, brand new. That costs thousands of pounds and causes untold disarray within a shop. I look around my shop and it literally gives me a panic attack thinking about how I would do a shop fit.
100%. I remember when we were discussing it, and Carl was like, "We'll get it done in a couple of days," and I'm like, "Are you dreaming?"
I said, "I'll plan it all out. I'll get it all
Dreaming.
ready." I was like,
He's like, "We'll put this over there whilst we do all of this," and I'm stood there going, "Yeah, all right, crack on, mate. I'll stay at home."
It took
If
me
you
3
could-
weeks to do this room.
Yeah, exactly.
if you can do it in 2 days, I'll pay you to come and fit my fucking shop fit for me, Carl. I'm telling you, it's a done deal. I'll pay for your
Honestly.
hotel and everything. Jesus, I just don't know what I'd do. I mean, oh God, it'd have to be a bank at a time. Then I'd have to be finding somewhere else for the animals to go while you're calibrating the stats. Doing all, oh God, it's just, yeah, that's just a nightmare for another day. I'm probably going to dream about that tonight and wake up in a cold sweat. Do you know what I mean? So I think, yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed the talk. So I think we'll probably wrap it up there. What I'm going to do, I'll just do the outro and then we'll have a chat once it stops recording and the swearing and debauchery can continue. So thanks again, guys, for watching. This was episode 3 of Trade Time. We'll be back again soon with another shop owner or shop owners to discuss their experiences. I really want to thank Carl and Tony for coming on tonight, simply because obviously they've had to find childcare while they're doing this video as well. So I think Nanan's come into the breach for that. So or grandma. I'm northern, so everybody's Nanan, not grandma. Do you know what I mean?
No, she's Nanan.
There you
Yeah.
go. So yeah, thanks once again. You feel free to share, like and subscribe, and we'll be back again soon with another episode. Until then, all the best, guys. Cheers.
Cheers, Jazz.
Cheers.
Bye.